Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today we shall deal with the rasa theory of Bharata. It is very important as far as Indian aesthetics is concerned. In this module, we will try to know what is rasa first. Then what is the Rasa Sutra of Bharata? It is very famous and based on which so many authors have been giving their commentaries. And next we will know the various type of bhavas. And then we will know the classification of rasas. See, Bharata's Natya Shastra is a very popular treatise on dance and drama. And of course it gives information about the poetical compositions too. Kalidasa in his text drama Malavika says, Natyam Bhinnaruchehe Bahudapyekam Samaradakam. What does it mean? See, Natya here now refers not only to dance, that which is depicted on the stage, be it a drama or dance or any puppet show or anything for that matter. So it is more attractive to any person, any audience, because Bhinna Ruchihi Lokaha. People are of different tastes. For them, this Natya happened to be giving everything to them when on the stage. Bhagavadapyekam Samaradakam, he said. He attributes some spirituality also for the depiction. The word Aradhana is always attributed to the spiritual deities. But he says it is the Aradhana on the stage released by all the people of different tastes. Because if you read a poetry, only the person who is enlightened to read or person with knowledge alone can appreciate poetry. But even an ordinary person, when he sees something beautiful on the stage, even though he doesn't have proper background for appreciating the beauty or the aesthetics, he can easily, seeing the depiction on the stage, appreciate the beauty of any creation. Therefore, Natya Shastra gains importance, and also the way in which he dealt with is attracted by the poeticians, we shall say. Bharata, who is also attached to a word Muni also, he is always called Bharata Muni. Bharata devotes the 6th chapter of his classical work, Natya Shastra, to an in-depth analysis of the concept of rasa. It is in this chapter, that is in the 6th chapter, that we find the famous Rasa Sutra. Sutra generally is defined Alpaksharam, Asandigdam, Saravat, Vishwatomukam, Astobam, Anavadyamcha, Sutram, Sutravido Viduhu is the different definition of a sutra. Sutra is an aphorism. Alpaksharam, it should contain only limited letters. Asandigdam, we should not give any doubt. There should not be any ambiguity. So, Alpaksharam, Asandigdam, Saravate, it should give the essence. Vishwatomukam, it should spread to all genres of literature or anything. So, it should be elaborative and applicable to various functions. Astobam Anavadyamcha, see, there should not be any defect in that. It should not be criticized by others. So, if that is the case, if a sentence is pronounced like that, it becomes a sutra, very short, pithy, aphoristic sentence. So, Bharata gives an aphorism that is called Bharata's Rasa Sutra. Aphorism on rasa. What is rasa? He has given it in a very short sentence, just like Panini, a sutra he has given. The awareness of the emotions has to be elicited in the minds of the spectator for them to relish it. So before understanding what is rasa, we should know what is bhava. See, the Rasa Sutras summarizes the factors in art construction that leads to relishing of the rasa. Bharata very emphatically states in Rasadhyaya of Natya Shastra. So that is the Rasadhyaya is the 6th chapter because it deals with rasa. He says, Nahi rasadrite kachid artaha pravartate. Very important sentence it is. Nahi rasadrite kachid artaha pravartate. The meaning is, no meaningful idea is conveyed if the rasa is not evoked. Because it won't go into the mind of the pupil. So it should go deep into the mind. Therefore, he says, the rasa should be there in order to attract the heart of pupil. So without it, there will be no meaning at all. That is this idea. Every dramatic presentation is aimed at evoking in the minds of the audience a particular kind of aesthetic experience, which is described as rasa. The concept of rasa is the most important and significant contribution of the Indian mind to aesthetics. The study of aesthetics deals with the realization of beauty in art, its relish or enjoyment, and the awareness of joy that accompanies an experience of beauty. Rasa has no equivalent in word or concept in any other language. The closest explanation can be aesthetic relish. Panini mentions Natasutras of Shilalin and Krishaswa prior to Bharata's Natya Shastra. Of course, Bharata's Natya Shastra is popular, known to us, but the mention by Panini regarding the Natasutra of Shilalin Krishaswa is only available as reference, but yet Panini has made us to know that the principles of Natya Shastra existed already, but we are given to understand that Bharata Muni, the person who popularized this system of rasa, he says that Natya is the imitation of life, Lokanukriti. What is staged is only the reflection of what is happening around in the day-to-day life. So it is only the depiction. That's why he says Lokanukriti, what is happening in the world that is being imitated on the stage. In the Lokanukriti, in the imitation, various human emotions have to be dramatically glorified. Bhavanu Kirtanam. Because in day-to-day life, we have got a lot of emotions clashing with each other, because each one is different, each mind is different, and emotions also happen to be different. And based on the situations, the emotions arise. And those emotions are to be depicted means then it is a difficult job. So based on a particular story, a person can bring out different types of emotions, and such depiction of emotions can be dramatically expressed through dance. So such things are called Bhavanu Kirtanam, so that the spectator is able to flavor the portrayed pleasure and pain also. Because Lokasya Sukha Dukkha, according to Bharata. What is depicted? The depiction happens to be the happiness of the world as well as the dukkha or the sorrows of the world also on the stage. This rasa experience will entertain and enlighten the spectator, who becomes the rasika. So one who is enjoying the rasa is called rasika. So the same, at this context I would like to say, the same rasika, when he could be of similar thinking to a poet or a dramatist, he is called Sahridaya. So he is having the heart very much like the poet. So this term Sahridaya is given by Anandavardhana in his Dunya Loka. So in an ordinary sense, it is a rasika. If he happens to be somewhat the person who knows the nuances of poetics and enjoys, or whether he is a critic, then he is called as a Sahridaya. Now we will know what is rasa. The word rasa is derived from the root rasaha, meaning generally rasa means juice, a sap, and then rasana, ras, refers to taste, flavor or relish. The extract of a fruit is referred to as a rasa, which itself is the essence of it, the ultimate flavor of it. So rasa means something which is just like the fragrance of the flower. You cannot see, but at the same time you can enjoy that. So based on that, Bharata has written a sutra, Rasa Sutra. Bharata succinctly encapsulates the theory of rasa in his most famous formula, Vibhava, Anubhava, Vyabichari Samyogat Rasa Nishpattihi. How does a rasa is evoked? He says, Vibhava, Anubhava, Vyabichari Samyogat Rasa Nishpattihi. Vibhava means Vishesha Bhavaha, Vibhavaha. Anubhavaha means that which is following, that helps that Vibhava, Vishesha Bhava, which is enhancing that Vibhava. Then Vyabichari Bhava, that is a fleeting Bhavas around him, what are all the situations we can say. So all these things, when they are coordinating and harmonizing, then it becomes a rasa. So the rasa nishpatti means that is the, how does rasa originate? It is because of Vibhava, Anubhava and Vyabichari Bhavas. Samyoga means it is a combination of all these three. The aesthetic relish, that is the supreme delight, which is called rasa, is produced, that is called as rasa nishpatti, by a combination of the determinants, that is Vibhava, Anubhava, as I told you earlier. Next, what is rasa? Bharata explains rasa as the essence derived from the various ingredients. He gives the parallel of the extract, rasa got from various condiments, having different tastes. When combined, becomes delectable to taste. Hence, that which can be tasted or flavored, that is aswadya, he says. Delicious good food can be termed as rasa. Now we have got a distinction of rasa as natya rasa also. The aesthetic relish, which is possible only through mental perception, is termed as natya rasa. So through mind you are able to gauge the feelings of the actor or the rasa arising out of the situation is called natya rasa. Even the terms Vibhava, Anubhava and Vyabichari Bhava refer only to stage representations according to Bharata, not to realities of life. It naturally follows that what they produce should only be natya rasa. So the sentiments pertaining to the dramatic spectacle presented on the stage is natya rasa. One enjoys experiencing the emotions with the artist and sometimes even visibly expresses it by shedding tears or laughing spontaneously, seeing something humorous on the stage. Something pathetic means then even the rasika happens to be shedding tears. But both the artist and the spectator are well aware that neither of them is going through it in reality. The actor acts it because he has to depict a particular emotion and accordingly he shows his features on face and in his limbs, and that is witnessed by the spectator. He also knows that it is not a reality, but at the same time his heart, his and mind are coordinating with each other to realize that rasa depicted by the actor on the stage. This enjoyment is called natya rasa. Then rasa and bhava definitely go together. The 6th and the 7th chapters of Natya Shastra, known as Rasadhyaya and Bhavadhyaya respectively, together bring out the concept of bhava and rasa theory. Hence become the bedrock for all deliberations on aesthetics, including the most brilliant contribution of Abhinavagupta, whose Abhinava Bharati remains till date the best commentary on the Natya Shastra. Bhava is derived from the root bhu, bhavati, that is to become, to come into existence. Bharata gives a causal quality to bhava, saying bhavayanti iti bhavaha, that is a thing or mental state that brings its awareness or makes one conscious of it, which pervades one like a particular smell, that is called bhava. Sthayi bhava. Bharata says that bhava, namely sthayi, pervading stable emotions. There is always with one, either the spectator or any person, a rasika, And these Thai bhavas are of 8 types. We will see later. Then Vyabhichari bhava, he says, because the definition of Bharata with regard to rasa is Vibhava, Anubhava, Vyabhichari Samyogat, Rasa Nishpatti. And the number of Vyabhichari bhavas happen to be more, numbered to 33. And the Satvika bhava, you have got 8 Satvika bhavas, totaling to 49 bhavas. They are Rati. Rati refers to love. Hasa means humor. Shoka, grief. Krodha, anger. Utsaha, heroism or heroism. Bhaya, fear. Jugupsa, sort of disgust. And Vishmaya, wonder. With regard to Vibhava, they are called determinant in English, which is the cause or the karana, which is of 2 types. Karana means what? Inducement of rasa. They are of 2 types called Alambana Vibhava and Uddipana Vibhava. The main stimulating cause is termed as Alambana Vibhava, the determinant, which determines how a rasa has to be evoked. And the environmental factors that are additional causes in evoking an emotion is termed as Uddipana Vibhava. Uddipanam, excitement. Now we shall see what is Anubhava. Bharata mentions Anubhavyate anena Vaksangatva Abhinaya iti Anubhava, which means that the Anubhava is something that is equipped with walk, speech, anga, physic. So through words you can bring out the essential factor of rasa. These are all the components. Then anga, physic, by action. And sattva, from heart or having supreme quality. When a person speaks, when a person gesticulates, then you will try to find out what is there in his mind and what is the mood that he has. So from the very face itself, as people used to say, face is the index of mind. So like that, by seeing the anga itself, you can find out what is going on in the mind of a person. Then Anubhava is the consequent physical reaction through action, word and facial expression that follows. That's why it is Anubhava. So you have in your mind some sort of feeling which is being expressed, and the expression happens to be through physical reaction. The mental expression comes through either through words or through your physical actions, facial expression, etc. So they are called Vibhava. Then Vyabhichari bhavas, it's a fleeting bhava. It is also called as Sanchari bhavas. Sancharati, Vyabhicharati, these are all the synonyms. The Vyabhichari bhavas, also known as Sanchari bhava or transitory, fleeting emotions, they are based on psychological states of mind. Vyabhichari bhavas are 33 in number. They are Nirveda, that is despondency, Glani, that is weakness. So these are all the expressions. And before expressing it, these are all there already in the form of bhavas. And then Shanka, that is suspiciousness. So somebody comes and then he is talking to you, being a stranger. You may have some doubt with regard to him, whether he is a right person or wrong person. What is his background? Will he be helpful? So like that. So there is there inside, but unless and until you are ventilating through bhavas, you can't identify it. So that's why only the expressions are required. So before that, what are all the things? That is the very these 33 Sanchari bhavas are special to Indian aesthetics, because they have got the study of each and every minute emotions of the mind. Then Asuya, envy, Mada, inebriation. That means you have got ego. You express it through your words and physic. And then Shrama, exhaustion. Then Alasya, lethargy. Dainya, depression. Chinta, that is anxiety. Moha, that is delusion. Smriti, recollection. Dhriti, fortitude. Vrida, bashfulness. Chapalata, inconstancy. That means he is a cat on the wall. He is not able to take decision. He goes this way, that way, and he has no stable mind. That is Chapalata. Then Harsha, joy. Avega, excitement. So all of a sudden he gets excited. So that is also an emotion. And Jadata, stupefaction. He says, I don't know what to do. Kim kartavyata mudosmi. At this juncture, I don't know. I am blank, blinking. So there is also Jadata, stupefaction. Garva, arrogance. Vishada, despair. Then Autsukya, impatient curiosity. Because he is not able to wait. Immediately he wants to know. So that is called Autsukya. This is caused out of Utsaha, that is curiosity. Nidra, sleep. Apasmara, that is loss of memory. That is also brought as the emotion. Swapna, dreaming. Prabodha, awakening. That is when he is awake to all situations and circumstances. Amarsha, indignation. Avahita, dissimulation. Ugrata, cruelty. Mati, self-assurance. Yes, I am. It is a sort of strong confidence. Vyadi, sickness. Unmada, madness. Then Marana, death. Trasa, fright. And Vitarka, deliberation. So, thus we have got 33 Vyabhichari bhavas. However, of the Vyabhichari bhavas, which are mentioned in the Shastra, many do not seem to be emotions. Because 33 has been noted as Vyabhichari bhavas. Bhava means we have already understood as emotions. But here in this list of 33, that is some of them do not seem to be emotions. Namely, Shrama, exhaustion. Will it be considered as an emotion? Some way there is a doubt. And with regard to Smriti also, it is only recollection. So recollection how can recollection be counted as emotion? So there is a doubt also in that. Moreover, they appear as situation and stage in life, like Marana, death. So death cannot be an emotion. But here we should understand that this bhava means that type of experience you have. In Marana, what will happen? There should be some emotions coming out of either hearing the death of a person or experiencing one's own kith and kin dying. So how to bring it into that emotion, how we can bring it out? Maybe it is a grief. It may go into grief. But yet, that grief is totally different from other types of grief. See, Marana experience is totally different from the experience of other types of shoka, sorrows. So, in order to perhaps distinguish that bhava, certain experiences are added as bhavas in the Vyabhichari bhavas. Of course, that is fleeting, you should remember. It comes and goes, that's all. It doesn't stay. That's why people always say, Marnantani Vairani, even if you have some sort of, this is said by Rama in Ramayana. With regard to Ravana, when the question was posed, he says, no, Marnantani Vairani. If you have any anger towards any person or the enmity towards him, that comes to an end with his death. I remember there is a saying by an English poet, death the leveler. So it levels everything, that's all. More than that, what is the use of just having some sort of anger towards a person already dead? So such things perhaps Bharata recollected in his mind, and then he said that it can be brought under Vyabhichari bhavas. Then Sattvika bhava. What is Sattvika bhava? The Sattvika bhavas are 8 in number. They have given the numbers also. They are the physical manifestation of intense emotion. So emotion, of course, is there. But if it happens to be so intense, then that is to be brought under some category. That's why even there is a small distinction between the emotion. Krodha as well as generally anger is divided into two types, Kopa and Krodha. Kopa is some anger, immediately that comes out because of something which you are not able to relish, and your emotion, the outburst that comes immediately is Kopa. That will come to an end. After something is done better, okay, he is satisfied, okay, the Kopa comes to an end. Krodha is something different in the sense, somebody has done something wrong to you. You always keep it in mind. You are waiting for an opportunity to just see how it can be punished. So that is always, you are holding it. But Kopa you don't hold. That is a temporary, fleeting. But Krodha is ever with you. Not only with a person's revenge is made, even afterwards. You don't forget it also. So like that, you got a distinction made. There is intense emotion. They are stamba, paralytic. It is always there. It doesn't move. Sweda, sweat. That is, sweating in the sense when you are having some sort of fear or the highest emotion, automatically it sweats in your body. That is always there with you. Then romancha, horripilation. Suddenly you enjoy something, enjoyable thing, or something. This happens generally with regard to the people who are bhaktas. When they go to the shrine, the devotee is exhilarating, and then he says, horripilating, each and every hair in my body is standing erect by seeing the Lord, like that. Then Swarabheda, change in the voice, that is the intonation. Sometimes you shout, sometimes you are slowly speaking, based on the situation. You don't want the situation to become bad. And this is used just for the sake of showing your intention in your mind. Why you are doing that? So there is what you call authoritative. Why you are doing it? Then is a question. So like that, the Swarabheda also changes the meaning also at times. It is just like asking that, say whether you have, how about your health? See, in Tamil, they say, Odambu eppadi irukku. That means what? How is your health? Same thing, Odambu eppadi irukku. It means that gives a different meaning. That means whether you require some punishment for your body, you are asking. So like that Swarabheda, that is intonation, makes a difference in the meaning, and also it causes the emotion to get expressed. Then Vepatu, trembling, shaking of body due to some reason, by observing certain situations, or trembling. Then Vaivarnya, change of color. All of a sudden his face changes, we say, because of the emotion that he has got in his mind. If he doesn't like a particular idea that focused before him, he shrinks his face, and at that time you can observe that his color of the face is a little changing, either as red if it happened to be anger, or if it is disgust, it will be black. Then Ashru, shedding tears. So it may be caused due to sorrow, or sometimes it may be due to the happiness also. It's Ananda Ashru, we call it. Then Pralaya, loss of sense, fainting. It is an amazing analysis of human emotions put in a nutshell. So this will be highly helpful for these doctors or people who analyze psychology. Then Bharata's classification of 8 rasas. Bharata says, Shringara, Hasya, Karuna, Veera, Raudra, Bhayanaka, Bibhatsa, Adbhuta. Shanta he doesn't refer to in his, so 8 rasas, namely Shringara, that is amorous, erotic. Then Hasya, comic. Karuna, pathos. And then Raudra, horror or furious. Veera, heroism or valorous. And then Bhayanaka, fear or horrific. Disgust or repugnant, that is Bibhatsa. And then Adbhuta, wonder. See, these are the 8 rasas advanced by Bharata. Shanta was added as the 9th at a later stage. Just as in music, a procession of notes in certain combinations reveals the characteristic melody of a whole or raga. For example, see, we have got only 7 swaras. Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. With that combination, different types of combination, we are able to evoke certain ragas. Like that, certain emotions, the combination of emotions. Similarly, the combination of emotions gives rise to the rasa as an aesthetic pleasure. The number of rasas. Since it is Thai which attains the rasahood, because Thai Bhava, Thai Bhavo Rasasmrtaha. Actually, with all the combination, you get a Thai Bhava. That Thai Bhava is nothing but rasa. That's what people say. The number of rasas corresponds to the number of the sthayis. So, vibhava, anubhava, vibhichari samyogat, rasa nishpati, vibhava, anubhava and vibhichari joined together create a sort of a sthayi bhava, and that sthayi bhava happen to be deciding the rasa. So, if that is the case, all the 8 rasas should have sthayis. That is, sthayi is nothing but a bhava prior to the pakwa of the rasa. So, there are about 8 sthayis as far as 8 rasas are concerned. Rati, shoka, krodha, utsaha, bhaya, hasa, jugupsa, vismaya, shama. Up to vismaya, Bharata has given the sthayi, because 8 rasas only he deals with. Later on, the 9th rasa happened to be Shanta rasa. Generally, there is a question whether Shanta rasa could be depicted on the stage, because it is a meditation. It is very much like what you call the samadhi, the experience in samadhi state. How can it be depicted, and how can the spectator or the reader relish such a rasa? There is a question. So it is there is arguments with regard to the Shanta rasa, whether it should be admitted as a rasa or not. But yet, later on, they are attributing certain sthayi bhavas for that, and other bhavas also. It was accepted as a 9th rasa. And then another rasa was also attributed, or rather accepted, as Bhakti rasa. And we have been talking about Rasa Gangadhara, who admits Bhakti is also a rasa, and he gives the bhavas for that also in his texts. And then one more rasa added, because these are all only shades of love. In the sense, when a love is directed towards the wife, then it becomes real Shringara and this, or is a heroine, for example. When it is directed towards the father or parents, then it is Pitru Bhakti. When it is directed towards God, it is Bhakti, that is Deva Bhakti. When it is directed towards the children, it becomes Vatsalya. So, it takes the different shades, and the Vatsalya also has been separately accepted as a rasa, thus totaling to 11 rasas. But primarily, only 8 rasas noted by Bharata, and one more rasa added, and popularly people have started calling Navarasas and all. So, is Shanta the 9th rasa? As I told you, it's a question. Natya Shastra does not make it clear whether Shanta was recognized by Bharata as a sentiment. Bharata recognizes, of course, Kshama, calmness, as the dominant emotion, because that is the base for Shanta rasa. So, one should have Kshama. Ascetic elements which have existed from very ancient times should have, under the influence of the Mahabharata, because in the Mahabharata, lot of ascetic elements are there. And of course, there is a discussion also in the Dunya Loka written by Anandavardhana, wherein the question arises, what rasa is predominant in Mahabharata? Because we come across a lot of things, fight, horror. All the other rasas are also there, playing a vital role, because it happens to be the mega story, Mahabharata. So there, the question is, which rasa is predominant? Because eko raso angīkartavyaha. See, if at all a person is just writing a big poem, then that should have one rasa predominant. The other rasas should be subordinate to it. Therefore, the question arises whether Mahabharata has got, while having lot of rasas, whether it has got a predominant rasa, and if so, what is that rasa? Then the conclusion happened to be Shanta rasa. So, Shanta has been recognized later on. The claim of Shanta to be treated as a sentiment cannot be denied on the ground that it has a limited appeal. People have said that Shanta rasa, nobody will like it, and they won't experience it also. Everybody does not experience Shanta. Therefore, people said that it is because of non-appeal to the audience, you cannot deny the existence of Shanta rasa. It is the main sentiment in Nagarnanda. See, perhaps Sriharsha wanted to depict Shanta rasa in some of his play. So he wrote Nagananda, wherein he depicted the Shantarasa. It is probable that this play started the inquiry of the claims of Shanta to be treated as a sentiment. Udbata was the earliest writer to mention Shanta as a sentiment. The Rasanubhava. Several emotions follow one after the other, one replacing the other, strengthening the Sthai Bhava of each stage, till finally the Sthai Bhava is established. And there is Rasanubhava. The cultured and the learned persons taste and relish the well-established dominant mood, Sthai Bhava, created by various Bhavas. Then Rasa Utpatti. Bharata says that Bhava and Rasa are mutually dependent. The performer or producer, be it an actor, dancer, singer, instrumentalist or stage craftsman, should be conscious of the Sthai Bhava and the Rasa, and they are striving to establish it. This will help them realize their Siddhi. Siddhi, referred to by Bharata, is denoting the experience of Rasa through Rasotpatti, by just creating Rasa. Thus, a simple aphorism of Bharata's Natyashastra, as I told you, that is Alpaksharam, Asandigdam, Saravat, Vishwatomukam. So it expands it to various places, and especially in drama as well as in the poetry, which happen to be the prime force or the spirit behind every art and aesthetics. Thank you.